Thank you for joining us for the East Mediterranean Business Culture Alliance's third Hellenic American Legislators Forum webinar panel discussion. My name is Luke Katsos, EMBCA's president, and I will be moderating today's panel. Our distinguished American state legislators of Hellenic descent includes New York State Assemblyman John Lemondes, Lou Raptakis, state senator from Rhode Island, Pennsylvania State Representative Stephen Malagari, and Connecticut State Representative Savet Constantine, and also Tina Courpas, Connecticut State Representative. This bipartisan forum aims to highlight the essential role that state legislators play in shaping the lives of everyday American citizens and in influencing broader regional, national, and even international policy. While much political attention is often placed on federal offices, it is on a state level where laws are crafted and implemented on crucial issues such as education, public health, transportation infrastructure, housing, economic development, public safety, and environmental sustainability. State legislators are in many respects the most direct and accessible representatives of the people, serving as a critical link between government and local communities. Elected legislators are deeply embedded in the communities they serve. They hold regular public meetings, attend community events, and maintain open lines of communication with their constituents. This grassroots connection fosters a sense of trust, transparency, and accountability, key components of a vibrant democratic system. It also allows these legislators to craft policies that respond directly to the unique cultural, economic, and social circumstances of their states and districts. In moments of crisis, whether natural disasters, public health emergencies, or economic downturns, state legislators are often in the front lines of the response, advocating for swift action, targeted aid, and community-based recovery efforts. The proximity to the people allows them to assess needs quickly and implement solutions tailored to local realities. In this webinar, we will discuss with our bipartisan legislative panel about their experiences and responsibilities in state government, their role in navigating evolving landscape of American politics, and their efforts to promote American as well as Hellenic values and priorities within their legislative work. The conversation will also touch on their views regarding the recent U.S. national and state elections and the impact of emerging political trends on governances of all levels. Besides their role within their respective states, the panelists are also members of the World Hellenic Interparliamentary Association, a global organization that fosters cooperation among legislators of Hellenic descent. That organization supports dialogue with the Hellenic Parliament and promotes shared strategies for addressing issues concerning the Hellenic Republic, Cyprus, and the global Hellenic diaspora. These efforts are especially important in advancing Hellenic perspectives in international relations, regional security in the Eastern Mediterranean, and a strengthening of transatlantic cultural and political ties. So let's discuss how they are shaping the present and future locally, nationally, and globally, while staying rooted in the values of their American as well as Hellenic heritage. Our first panelist will be John Lemondes. John was elected to the New York State Assembly in 2020, and he represents parts of Onegada and Cayuga counties. He focuses on reducing taxes, creating jobs, supporting farmers and businesses, strengthening education, and curbing population loss. A retired U.S. Army colonel, Lemondes served 27 years in Iraq, Afghanistan, and key leadership roles, including servicing U.S. treaty obligations with the OPCW and developing systems to neutralize chemical weapons in Syria. After retiring in 2014, he and his family started a diversified livestock farm in Lafayette, while he also worked in the defense industry. He is active in the agricultural community, having led the New York Farmer Veteran Coalition, served on the Anegada County Soil and Water Conservation District Board, and represented New York in the American Sheep Industry Association Legislative Action Committee. He is a proud member of the Farm Bureau and a lifetime advocate for preserving natural resources. He's committed, of course, to veterans and public service and belongs to numerous organizations, including the NRA and the American Legion. In Albany, he serves on the banks, Economic Development Corporations Authority and Commissions, Environmental Conservation, and Agriculture Committees. Thank you, John, for being with us, and welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure. And for the benefit of the listeners, I am a sheep farmer, so I make wonderful lamb, and we sell that all over the U.S. and it's fantastic. And a lot of times when people realize that I'm Greek, they say, "Oh, you've gone back to your roots." Yes, absolutely. I want to first highlight, I won't take long, but I want to highlight what I think the most significant thing that we've done recently that I've been a part of is, and that's our trip to Greece a few weeks ago. And this was significant because of our relationship, the U.S. relationship with Greece, and our role as I see it, as I'm sure everybody will agree, and I hope they do, that as Greek American legislators, it's part of our job to ensure that the American population, and to a lesser extent the Western world, understands the significance of Greece and our commitment to NATO, Greece's role in NATO, in the cradle of civilization, and with respect to Eastern Mediterranean stability. The average American doesn't know that and couldn't say that if their lives depended on it. And I view that as part of my role, part of my job, and part of our job cumulatively to educate whenever we can, so that we spread that good word about why our relationship with Greece is important to every American, not just Greek Americans. Additionally, one of the key things that we did is we visited Suda Bay. We discussed all of the issues associated with the refugee crisis coming out of Libya, and the harassment that Greece is receiving as a result of Turkish manipulation there. So this is important, again, for the Western world to understand, and it's important for us to do everything we can to help Greece through this crisis. At a local level, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, this is the end of in New York, our state fair week. It's coming to an end tomorrow. And in New York, agriculture is our state's #1 industry. It's my assembly district's #1 industry as well. And so we do a lot of things agricultural to support our state and fair. And I just wanted to put that out for all of the hardworking people that are there volunteering, trying to educate the public on the importance of education and where their food comes from, how it's made, who actually produces it, et cetera, et cetera. And then with respect to the committees that you mentioned, I do personally engage from local to national in 2 sectors of our GDP, and that's agriculture and defense. And I do that because of my lifelong experience in the military, 27 years in the Army, and then 5 years in industry developing. I worked in the high-tech industry developing Marine Corps and naval shipborne radar platforms. And so I understand the integration of those things, the importance of the high-tech industry. And locally here in my home county, you may have heard we are getting a major plant coming in. And although this has been a radar hub for 50 plus years, it's going to become extremely more high-tech as this chip plant comes online. And last, just so everyone knows, I have decided to run for Congress. I will not seek my assembly seat this coming election next year in 26, I am running for New York 22. And the reason for that is very simple. I can help this country more with the skills and experience that I have as a congressman than I can as a state legislator. And we are in dire, dire need of people with experience and skills that can demonstrate having the ability to work apolitically, which is exactly what you learn in the military. There's no better training ground for apolitical work and getting a job done that's important to everyone. And so I made that decision. It was very hard to make, and there's no turning back. So hopefully I'll have all of your support in pursuing that. And I can do a lot more for WHIA as a New York congressman as well than I can as a state assemblyman. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's an honor and pleasure to be with you today.
John, the honor is ours. Just a couple of questions. How big is
Sure.
the farm? How big is the farm?
It's about 550 acres. Right now, we've doubled in size 4 or 5 times since I started. We're still growing. And I have, a sheep farm, just like any protein animal farm. The size is that your output is determined by your number of breeding females. And I have about 200 breeding females right now. 10 years ago, we started with 0. We'll be doubling again in the next 2 years. And then within the next 5 years, we'll double again.
Who is running the operation? In other words, if you run for Congress, who will be running this operation?
I use H-2A migrant labor, so I am a expert at that. In fact, I have a letter which will be sent to G.T. Thompson, the House Ag Committee chairman. Again, I sent this letter. I circulated it within my house last year, and this was simply to outline mechanical things that need to be done so that we can continue to produce our food. And do so in order to, in my state's case, stop the outmigration, stop the job loss. We are hemorrhaging people and economic opportunity horribly. And I hate to say that. I wish the stats were the other way. I wish I could say, oh my God, we're growing so much we don't know what to do. But it's just the opposite. We are now the highest outmigrating population state 4 years in a row in the country. Our residential energy is 62% higher than the national average. Our commercial energy is 50% higher than the national average. There are a lot of reasons for that, which are not within the scope of this conversation, unless you'd like them to be. I can go into that. So we have a lot of things going backwards at 1,000 miles per hour in my state. And so I'm doing my part to reverse that. And part of that, which is why I'm on the Economic Development Committee and why I decided to step up and run for Congress. I'll be able to do a lot more in that role than I can in my current role.
So have you formally announced or what?
Oh yeah, I have. Absolutely. It's out there.
So are you reaching out to the community, let's say not only the local community, but beyond?
We're starting to. We're in the. I have my finance team is. I don't have the whole team built yet. I have my general consultant is on board. My finance team is on board. My fundraising team is on board. Next is we're trying to down select the campaign manager, and that's a very hard decision because that's got to be the right person with the right personality. And we've got several in mind. We haven't made that decision yet, but that will be coming next. So yes, absolutely, we are reaching out to everyone we can.
Is your community basically a farming community in livestock, or not really?
It's both. It's very, very unique with respect to the United States. We are like a mini Silicon Valley within a state that's number one industry is agriculture, and within an assembly district that's number one industry is agriculture. So it's very, very unique. Very few people know this in the United States, but when you look at the density, as I referred to Syracuse as being a radar hub, Syracuse has been a radar and sonar hub for the U.S. Navy and other things too for 50 years. And you would never, your average American would never know that. They'd never be able to pin that tail on the donkey. And the plant that's coming in will grow that even further. And so obviously we are wrestling with this, as we say locally, this new development is the best thing that's happened to Central New York since the Erie Canal. And that's a good way of putting it, because it will be. We don't know. We don't have crystal balls. We don't know if the whole footprint that is being planned is going to be built. That's yet to be determined. We can't look into the future, but assuming that the whole footprint that we're talking about is built, it will drastically change everything about this congressional district and this local area centered around Syracuse.
How big is the footprint that we're talking about, assuming that it's all done?
Roughly, the fabrication piece of it under roof will be about 5 football fields ish. Then you've got, the whole footprint is much larger when you talk about, outbuildings, parking lots, et cetera. It's a major operation.
Are there certain energy requirements that are required to be built for this operation you're talking about, or no?
Yeah, there are. I was assuming you would ask this question. We have a lot of environmental hurdles to work through, and we are. That has actually caused a 1-year delay right now because of all things bat habitat, and so people. Let me just go political for 1 second. So everybody, I'm a Republican, and people oftentimes don't think Republicans care about their environment. You couldn't be any further from the truth. In my case, I happen to know a lot more about it than your average person, so I can make informed decisions. I can speak intelligently. And I oftentimes say to people, do you think I would do anything to increase my short-term yield on my own farm? And we call it mining the soil is the derogatory term for it. Do you think I would do anything to mine my soil to increase short-term yield, thereby sacrificing long-term benefit of the environment and the soil and the interaction of those ecosystems? So I am able to speak to this in great detail, and it's important. And when you talk about progress, I often say to people, you can't have progress without yielding something somewhere. So you have to ask that question. Do you want progress or not? Because progress has a cost to it. If you want an improved economy, if you want more jobs, if you want better, more prosperous opportunity for your children and their children, you can't just say no to everything. There's a happy medium. The happy medium is oftentimes contentious, as we all know. But it's probably better that way. That I think the best outcome for anything comes when people with differing perspectives work through the issue and determine the best outcome. And usually, when you've got people with differing opinions on something, that's how you get the best outcome of whichever direction you're going in. I believe that. And I believe that from my time in the military where, God forbid, I sure didn't agree with every operation that I conducted, the way it was planned and the way I had to execute it. But I never executed something that anyone could tell that it wasn't my plan. Might not have been my plan, but in the execution of it, it looked like my plan.
John, how many people are running against you in your party for this position?
2 of them just dropped out. So right now, as we speak, I am the only one. I have scared the competition away so far. That doesn't mean someone else won't jump in, but I am working like a dog to fundraise, and I'm not stopping. I'm not looking backwards. And I told all of them 2 weeks ago, regardless of where the party is going, I'm going forward. And so, I hope that's with everybody. Hopefully we can all get on the same sheet of music, and we'll see what happens.
John, we certainly wish you luck. If there's any way we can help, of course, reach out to us. And thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, John, you're very welcome.
John, 1 second.
Yeah.
Do you mind? I just want to congratulate John.
Please.
I just want to tell him that Number one, he's doing the right decision starting early. Very important. And in the Greek community, as far as us as legislators, I, a Democrat, have donated to Republicans, and I will definitely donate to John Lemondes as I have in the past. Those are not borders. Is what he can do for his district, number one, his community. And I'm not sure how big his state assemblyman district is compared to the congressional districts, about 600,000, maybe 650. But John, I think how many population is in your district? How many people are in your district?
So the assembly district's 138,000, and you hit the nail on the head. The congressional district's 600K ish. You know,
so about 25% is already in your district, which is a good sign. And I think a lot of folks, and Lou will tell you, New York City is where you got to pound the pavement for financial support. There's a tremendous, huge Greek American community. Lou knows that in New York City. But we will help you out, and congratulations on your future endeavors.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
John, thank you again for being with us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Our next panelist is, I'm going to call him Leonidas Raptakis, or Lou Raptakis, who we've seen before, obviously, a few times here on these panel discussions. And thank you, Lou, for helping us put these together. Lou became the first Greek American elected to the Rhode Island State Senate, defeating a six-term incumbent after serving in the State House since 1993. He has since won multiple re-elections, including a return to the Senate in 2012, and in 2024 secured a victory with 58.5% of the vote in a Republican-leaning district. He's obviously a Democrat. Throughout his career, Senator Raptakis has been a strong advocate for the Hellenic Republic in Cyprus, sponsoring resolutions on the Pontian genocide, Macedonia's Hellenic heritage, the Cyprus issue, and religious freedom for the ecumenical patriarchate. He has worked for his fellow Hellenic American legislators in U.S. as well as Greek defense and security issues, including blocking Turkey from the F-35 program and supporting Greece's borders. Raptakis has played a leading role in the Liberty Project, which brought the last surviving Liberty ship, the Arthur Hubble, to Greece as a floating museum, and has supported initiatives to boost U.S. investment and travel to the Hellenic Republic. Since 2021, he has served as the president of the World Hellenic Interparliamentary Association, strengthening its ties among Hellenes worldwide. The son of parents from Andros, he is active in the Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church in Cranston, Rhode Island, along with his wife Donna Marie and their children, Alexandra and Nicholas. He is also a proud member of AHEPA Chapter 106, District 7. Lou, thank you for being with us today.
Lou, thank you. And as you close out my bio and mention AHEPA, I want to show the audience that Rhode Island has become the first state in the country to issue a motor vehicle license plate, as you can see, honoring both AHEPA and our Hellenic heritage. And this bill was signed and passed by the governor. Just took us 1 year from introduction to passage. So we hope our other legislators would do the same, because it is very important that we also honor where our roots are from. Our roots are from Greece or Cyprus, and it's very important that we don't forget our roots. It's part of our heritage, it's part of our language, a part of our religion. But Lou, let me jump in and just give you a little bit what's happening in Rhode Island. A lot's happening in Rhode Island, and afterwards I'm going to have Steve Malagari, who is probably, I look at him because Pennsylvania could play an important role for our energy sources if we decide to move forward with a gas pipeline from Pennsylvania being the third or second largest state as far as producing gas, because as you know, the Trump administration just suspended the wind farm that's off the coast of Rhode Island, 80% completed. Again, the administration has its reasons. I believe that in my sense, I think going straight green energy was a disservice to the people of Rhode Island. How can you have by 2030 complete green energy to facilitate your state? It's not going to happen. It's 5 years away. That deadline should be kicked down the road at least another 15 to 20 years. But wind and solar are not the solution. We still need fossil fuels. I think gas energy is probably going to be very important. And Steve Malagari, my colleague from Pennsylvania, will tell you the visit he did out as a group of our General Assembly legislators, global legislators. We went to Alexandroupoli to visit the FSRU, which is the fuel storage regasification unit. And Steve will jump into that portion. But I think that energy is going to be important to all our states. As you have A&I coming on board, that is going to need tremendous energy, and we don't have it. Not one state has sufficient energy right now to tackle the A&I, and green energy is not the solution. We just had a conference in Providence, Rhode Island, where we hosted the northeastern states with Canada, and the big discussion was the small nuclear reactor and SNR, which is very, very important. Small nuclear reactor. Our colleagues that we have discussion in Canada, Ontario is looking to put probably 4 to 7 online. And as John had said earlier, this red tape kills us. The bureaucracy and red tape in all of our states is a burden. Canada, Ontario is going to have in Darlington probably 7 of these small nuclear reactors up and running probably by 2030. So I salute my colleagues up in Canada that they push aside bureaucracy and look at how important our future energy needs are going to be, especially with A&I coming on board. The other issue is Rhode Island, again, is a state located in the Northeast, a smallest state in the Union. But as far as we're concerned, concerning Hellenic issues, I think it plays a key role. All our congressional delegation, all 4 of them, both 2 U.S. senators and 2 members of Congress, have voted 100% on all issues pertaining to Greece and Cyprus. That's because we as legislators communicate with our colleagues in government. We have the same constituency. My 2 U.S. senators have the same voters in my district, which is about 35,000 people. And then we get to engage in all issues of concern, domestic issues and even foreign issues. As you know, things out in the Middle East are very dangerous. Right now, the Libyan incursion with Turkey on the Greek maritime borders just south of Crete. Turkey cannot be trusted, as we know. Let me also conclude, Lou and my colleagues, and to the viewers who are watching us and listening to us. Our organization, the Hellenic World Interparliamentary Association, is going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary next year. This organization started in 1996. It's composed of 96 elected members of Congress, members of federal parliaments, general officers, state legislators, and state representatives that we play an important part tying all those elected officials. We're about 95 elected officials. And next year, we're hoping to commemorate the 30th anniversary, 2 days in Athens, and then 2 days we're thinking of putting together a energy security maritime conference in Rhodes, where we'll have the ambassadors of 3+1, Israel, Cyprus, Greece, U.S. ambassador, even the ambassador of Egypt, also participate, those that are in Greece, with all our colleagues in government, to stress the fact how important U.S. relations is with Greece and Cyprus. And the United States is the kingpin, I should say, playing that important role of safeguarding, as a partner with Greece, Cyprus, and Israel, the 3+1, the security and stability of that region. There's a lot of work, Lou, as far as, in my opinion, because of what's happening in Syria with Turkey, what's happening in Lebanon, what's happening with the Houthis, what's happening in Gaza, Israel. The Middle East has always been a power keg, but strong relationships from the United States in our states, whether it's business interests, getting Fortune 500 companies involved in developing their company's footprint in Greece and Cyprus, plays a unique role. I had a meeting with our president of the University of Rhode Island, where a great opportunity of Greece's looking at partnership right now with U.S. universities. We got a lot of U.S. universities in our states that could partner with the Greek universities and with American College of Greece or Anatolia in Thessaloniki. So education plays a big role. Tourism, as we said. Lou, when you and I were growing up, I think the only two flights to Greece were Olympic Airlines and TWA, and that was it. Maybe Pan Am had a connection flight from Germany. Right now, today, we have 16. Next summer, we're going to add Dallas, Texas, 16 nonstop flights to Greece. That's not for the Greek community. It's for Americans to visit Greece. Just think, you have a Fortune 500 CEO from, who knows, from Texas, where we don't have a Greek American legislator, going on vacation in Greece, and then he sees how important Greece is, not only the tourism, the aspect of the Acropolis, but learning and probably maybe getting an interest of his company investing in Greece, of what's happening right now with many, many sectors. You have many, many Fortune 500 companies already in Greece. In my home state, we have Raytheon, we have General Dynamics. General Dynamics is the builder. We build the hulls of all our nation's submarines, which are finally assembled in my colleague's state in New London, Connecticut. So there you go. You got Rhode Island and Connecticut together. As far as our Greek American legislators, we're working on improving our rail service between Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, the commuter rail. And that, again, plays an important role when you have a Greek American legislator who was in our forum last week, Eleni DeGraw, couldn't be here today. We're pushing to complete the commuter rail service, connecting it from New London, Connecticut, all the way to T.F. Green Airport in Rhode Island. So it all plays an intricate, all politics is local, as we said, and even with our Hellenic American community, that's how important it is amongst us communicating with each other and working together with issues in our home states. But the Hellenic bond puts us together. Just think, we have in Connecticut, we have 6 state legislators and a lieutenant governor. And that's unbelievable how we all communicate, and with New York, with the New England states, all across the 22 states that we have Greek Americans elected, whether it's in Congress, general officers, state senators, and state representatives. It's a good collaboration, and I think our Hellenism bonds us together. Thank you, Lou.
Lou, small question for you. In terms of local issues, what are the important local issues that the folks want you to address, and what got you elected, actually?
Sure. Well, a lot of local issues. I mean, I fought for one big issue, was the sewer issue. We had our local community trying to charge exorbitant rates, $60,000 just to connect a sewer line to a home, where the legislature, myself and my colleagues, jumped in and we did a investigation on why it was charged that much. And we found out why, because they weren't doing their due diligence. So we passed legislation hamstringing the sewer program, where they dropped it down to $15,000 per home. That means a lot, especially to a senior citizen. The issues with education is very important, funding more education. I fought and established another $2 million in excess funds from the state to the town of Coventry. I represent also a small segment of West Greenwich. And there's many, many other issues. Johnson's Pond, we had a developer that took over one of the biggest lakes in Rhode Island. He bought it for about $1.2 million and wanted to sell it back to the town for $100 million. He drained it. The town couldn't use it for 2 years, till the General Assembly jumped in, and we had the Department of Environmental Agency issue that if you want to operate that dam that he emptied out the pond, where we had skiing, sailing, swimming, you had to get a license, and they restricted him from draining the pond. And then we worked with the courts, and the town used eminent domain for the public, which I helped a lot on legislation to take over the pond. The pond now is in the hands of the community. It's one of the biggest lakes, water bodies in the state of Rhode Island. So a lot of local issues got me elected, whether it's road construction, whether, again, it's a issue where we had with asphalt plants. We barred any more asphalt plants from getting a license near schools and residents. Now there's only one left in the community. So a lot of the local issues get us elected. and then responding to the constituents' concern. When the constituent calls up, they have a problem with a state department, that's when we jump in to try to play either referee or try to resolve that issue. And that's the most important part. We know Greece is important, Cyprus is important, but what got us selected? My community probably has maybe 1% of my district has a Greek population. Probably about maybe 300 Greek Americans probably live in my district. So the majority is non-Greek. But again, as you said, I've had a lot of state senate races unopposed. The last two in 2020 and 2022 were unopposed. But again, I had a school committee chairman run against me. Trump was on the ticket. I was the only Democrat to win in the top 6 positions, and with a resounding almost 60%, as much as President Trump and the other 2 Republicans had garnered in my district. So you got to keep your feet on the ground. You got to be accessible to your community, to your constituents.
Lou, let me ask you a question linking America and the laws here in America. Next year we have the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and also the 205th anniversary of the Hellenic Revolution. Is your state doing anything locally relating to Hellenic Americans in America and their contributions
Absolutely.
the last 250 years?
Yeah, Lou, absolutely. Rhode Island, since I've been elected state rep and state senator, we've celebrated every year in the Capitol, not only Greek Independence Day, and we've had every general officer, the governor, everybody shows up to the Capitol. It's been a tradition to explain to our constituency what Greek democracy is all about. And that has been going on now for at least 30 years in a row. Also, we have our local communities, the 3 largest, we have 3 Greek American churches, the largest festivals that take place in those churches every year. They just keep growing and growing. It's for non-Greeks to understand our culture, our tradition. And then Rhode Island has been a forefront in passing legislation, the Pontian Genocide. We passed it 16 years in a row. We also make sure that we recognize the Ecumenical Patriarch in a Senate resolution. So the General Assembly in Rhode Island and the governor, they've been very supportive. When there's a Greek event, I get more phone calls. Are you going to be at the Greek Festival this weekend? We have one of the biggest ones in Rhode Island, the Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church. Every general officer, everybody's going to be there. And those candidates that are running for next year. So the Greek community plays an intricate role in our state. We're a diverse state, but we work very hard. I think it resonates to every other single state, whether it's Connecticut, Pennsylvania, everywhere. I mean, I think that's our job. We are very well articulate and understand the relationship between our non-Hellenic community, the Rhode Islanders, with our small minority Greek American community in our state.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you for being with us today. Stay
Likewise.
on board. And by the way, when you're sitting there putting the souvlakia on the Barbie, make sure that we see that operation. Okay.
I will
make sure you're live. Make sure you're live while we're doing it.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
There'll be a lot of my little granddaughter's coming over, and you know who's got to chase her? Me. But I will be cooking. We'll be cooking on the grill.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question. Your particular state, what parade do they go to? Do they go towards Boston, or where do they go towards?
Definitely to Boston. Boston's only 1 hour away. New York, again, is about a 2.5 hour ride. So I try to split my double duties. I'll go 1 year to Boston and 1 year to New York. And as you see me many times in New York, I'm sort of in the middle. We're close to the Connecticut border. So I have our Greek American community usually takes the bus ride up to to Boston.
Sounds great, Lou. Thank you so much. Our next panelist is Tina Courpas. She was elected as a state representative to Connecticut's General Assembly in November of 2024. She represents the city of Stamford and the town of Greenwich, where she has lived for almost 20 years and has raised her family. This is Tina's first term in state government. She has worked for over 20 years in investment banking and corporate law, beginning her career at Goldman Sachs and Company, and working most recently at Silver Point Capital, a hedge fund in Greenwich. Tina then ran two nonprofit organizations. She was the executive director of the Hellenic Initiative, the largest Greek diaspora organization in the world, which raises funds from the global Greek community and diaspora to invest in Greece's economic recovery. She is a parishioner at the Greek Orthodox Church of Our Savior, where she has taught Sunday school and started a Greek dance group. She is on the board of the Paideia Institute, which promotes the study of classical languages, including ancient Greek. She holds an AB from Princeton University and a JD from Columbia Law School. Tina is the daughter of two Greek immigrants and mother of 4 children. Welcome, Tina. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Lou. So with respect to our jobs as state legislators and our Greek and promoting the interests of Greece, so I echo some of the comments made before that I believe even though we are the quote middle child of legislation, we are neither a municipal government as state legislators, nor are we federal legislators. We occupy what I think is a very important middle ground. And while we don't deal per se with international relations issues, I think we have a very unique platform in which to promote issues that relate to Greece. So I don't think these issues for Americans are just specific to Greek Americans who have cultural and sentimental ties to our homeland. It was very interesting to me when we were in Greece this summer with the WEA trip to realize what we all know, that Greece is very important strategically to United States interest, not just because Greece is right there on the border of Turkey and it neighbors all kinds of countries that cannot be counted on to be reliable allies, but it is also extremely important, not just in Greek-Turkish relations. The purchase of the port of Piraeus, the 60% purchase of the port of Piraeus by the Chinese several years ago, was highlighted by our U.S. diplomats in Greece as the #1 security issue facing the United States and the region. And I believe that the United States missed a real opportunity there. Greece did not have the funds to finance that port of Piraeus, and the Chinese did have the funds. But for a price tag of $250 million, I think it would have been a small price to pay for the United States to step up and protect our interests in the region. So if we have more awareness of how important Greece is, and I believe that is part of our job as state legislators, I hope to avoid mistakes like that in the future. Secondly, something that was very interesting to me when we were in Greece is that Greece is a reliable ally. And, you know, throughout the history since the Greek War of Independence, it has never wavered as a staunch U.S. ally. Turkey is obviously in NATO, but it is not culturally, in terms of the roots of a democratic country, it does not have the same similarities that Greece and the United States have. So when you have a Souda Bay naval base in Crete, where if a United States carrier, this is a real example they gave us, needs a drastic repair there in the Eastern Aegean, they can go to Souda Bay, which can take any kind or any size aircraft carrier, get repaired, and be back deployed into action for the United States in a matter of 4 days. If we did not have Greece, that ship would have to travel, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks in order to do that. So Greece is reliable. Greece is always there for us, and it is important to everyone, not just Greek Americans. With respect to the state of Connecticut where I serve, the issues that are pressing for our state, we're a state of 3.5 million people. We're a very interesting state. Our population is dominated by 4 big cities: Hartford, Bridgeport, New Haven, and Stamford. And then we have a total, including those 4, of 169 municipalities, which range from 400-person rural towns in the northeast corner to towns like mine, 65,000 population in Greenwich, which is really a commuter community for New York City. And everything in between. So the issues that are facing us, and I'll try to generalize so that they're relevant for everyone, not just Connecticut citizens, are first of all, zoning and housing. You know, there's affordable housing shortage across the United States. we have that in Connecticut also. And so a big issue for us is how do we solve that problem? Do we let each of Connecticut's 169 municipalities make their own plan, or do we have state mandates? I very much err on the side of the government that governs closest to the people governs best. Each individual town should be able to make that plan for itself according to its local zoning. So to me, that's a very big issue in our state and one on which I ran and my district cares about a lot. Secondly, I care deeply about education. This is a very deep-rooted Greek value in our culture. And I would like to focus most in my work on the Education Committee on how are we measuring outcomes? You know, you can't measure outcomes based on how much we're spending. Are kids learning? Are kids going to school? What are our attendance records? Those that are struggling, why are they struggling? The districts that are knocking it out of the park, what are they doing right? And why? How can we import that to Connecticut's other 168 school districts? So education, I think, is uniform across the country, an important issue and important in our state. And lastly, our financial well-being in the state of Connecticut. We are growing public sector at multiples of the level that we're growing the private sector. Employee pay has gone up 33% in Connecticut in the last 4 years, state employee pay. I don't know about anyone else, but in the private sector, my pay certainly didn't go up 33% in the last 4 years. We really have to focus on that. It's not a, it's sort of not that catchy an issue to focus on state employee pension plans over the long term, but it's a real issue. So I ran on this. I have a background in this, and I care deeply about fiscal responsibility in Connecticut so that we can make it a livable state and an affordable state for our citizens. So I very much appreciate being here, Lou, and I thank you so much for convening us together.
Well, I appreciate that comment. Let me ask you a question. What is the main issue, the three main issues of your particular district of interest to the local population?
I would say local control of zoning is a huge issue for us because our state is, there is a very big push on in our state to have central state planning for housing issues. So to maintain local control of zoning is very important in my town. For example, there was a bill which was defeated this year in Connecticut. Both houses passed it, but the governor vetoed it. And that would have, it listed all of Connecticut's 169 towns, and next to each was a number. That was your number of affordable housing, and you must go on a plan to build that number of affordable housing. And there were other parts of that bill which said if a developer comes into town and is building affordable housing, they can bypass local zoning laws. The environment, historical buildings, sewage, congestion, schools, everything overridden, all sacrificed at the altar of affordable housing. I don't agree with those kinds of policies, though I do agree we need to address the issue. So local control is a big one for my town. I live in a financially oriented district, right? We have a lot of, like me, we have a lot of people that either used to or currently do work in financial services. We have 19% of our children on free and reduced lunch. We have a wide economic disparity. People cannot afford to have their taxes go up. They cannot afford the energy prices in Connecticut. We need to maintain fiscal discipline so that Connecticut can be more affordable. So number two, fiscal issues. And number three, Connecticut is a trifecta state. I'm a Republican, I'm a moderate. The House, the Senate, and the governor's office are all in the Democratic Party. My district wants to see more balance in our state legislature. They do not like to see the lack of debate and the lack of exchange of ideas and the lack of points of view that sometimes you can get in a trifecta state. There are 38 states among our 50 that are trifectas. 23 are Republican and 15 are Democrat. I don't think it's good no matter which side has the trifecta. So balance in our legislature and an open exchange of ideas where all viewpoints are heard. In a district like mine where 40% are unaffiliated and then it's 30 and 30 Republicans and Dems, people care about balance. I would say that that's issue number three.
So are you finding bipartisan communications? Are they good? Are they poor? What are they?
You know, I have found this job to be an absolute joy. The Connecticut legislature is not characterized by the, in my opinion, at times inappropriate level of vitriol at the federal level. I don't think it has any place in our, civilized, in our government, but it's there. Connecticut, I have been pleasantly surprised at how civilized it is, how people are willing to listen to each other, et cetera. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but we did pass a number of, many, or several, I would say, unanimous, 100% unanimous bills. People are respectful of one another. Savet Constantine is a friend and, co-worker across the aisle. And, it was really nice to go away to Greece with WEA. There were 5 of us from Connecticut, 2 Republicans and 3 Dems. Building those relationships is so key to all of this because I really believe there's so much more that we agree upon than we don't agree upon.
Was that the first time you went with the organization? Because you
It was.
recently got elected. Yeah. How was that experience? How was the experience going there?
Like I'm sure all of us, I've been to Greece many times. I have my first cousins there, growing up and in my adult life. But it was great and fascinating to see Greece from a different perspective. I'd been outside the Parliament building countless times, never in the Parliament building. I'd met government officials in the context of running the Hellenic Initiative, but never peer to peer as other government officials. And it was, it was very, very interesting. And we were extremely well received. And a big shout out to Lou Raptakis, who, in 100+ degree heat, just is the most energetic person I've ever traveled with. So Lou, thank you for that experience for all of us. It was very fruitful.
Let me ask you a question about your Greek dance group. Is it still operational or what?
Yes, it is.
How big is it? How big is it?
At its peak, we had probably about 54 kids, ranging in age from the little guys, starting at 4 or 5 years old into like the 18-year-olds. We had 3 different groups. And, it's really hard to get our kids to Greek school. I really struggle with that with my 4 children because they have such demanding schedules. But so I found Greek dance as another way to impart what it feels like to be Greek and the sense of camaraderie and the friendships. So it served a great purpose in our family life. And I think it's been a good contribution to my church.
Yeah, the only reason why I bring it up is I'm going to be the chairman of this coming parade in New York next year. And one of the things that I wanted to do is to have a regional dance get together. Okay. In other words, to have different dance groups get together somewhere in New York, in the city, and perform. So that's why this thing stuck out in my mind. The other thing that's of interesting on again, non-political level is your role in terms of being on the board of a classic language institute. Can you just tell us a little bit about that and how did you get into that? Did you yourself take classical Greek or Latin or what?
I took Latin a little bit, but it was really my oldest child, my son, Marin, who's now 23 years old, took Latin and loved it, and then took actually ancient Greek in high school. And I became aware of this organization through his experience. They take high school students and college students and graduate students to Greece to really immerse them in the culture. And they take them to Rome also to immerse them in the culture where this language, had, took hold. And it's, it's the most brilliant people, certainly way above my intellectual capabilities. They're PhDs in the classics from major universities. They speak 10 to 15 languages. It's a really fascinating organization. And my 2 of my other children have both taken Latin and one also takes ancient Greek. So it's been a great organization for us.
Where do they take ancient Greek? Are these private schools or what are they?
Yes, my sons go to Brunswick School in Greenwich, and it does offer ancient Greek. But the Paideia Institute is launching one of the first platforms online to make ancient Greek accessible to anyone, which is a really important part of its mission. And I also feel strongly about this because the classics departments at major universities are shrinking. It is no longer as studied as it used to be. And, the people on the board of Paideia are not classicists. They're not academics. The staff are such people, but a lot of the board members are classics majors from years ago who've now gone on to other things, and they attribute their way of thinking a lot to their study of the classics. So it has many, many benefits beyond knowing those languages.
Yeah, I thought it was of value to my daughter who took ancient Greek actually in high school. And she actually went to Yale, took ancient Greek. She became a doctor, but she was taking ancient Greek at Yale. And also my son was into Latin. So I think those two languages in particular are languages that should be taught a little bit more than they have been. The other thing that many people don't understand is a lot of these institutions do not have enough people who apply actually to these classics programs. And there's a lot of institutional funds going back a long time period that want to support students to actually take those languages. So for those parents who are listening to this conversation, have your children learn ancient Greek and Latin. Thank you again, Tina, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Our next panelist is Steve Malagari. He was elected in 2018, and he proudly represents Pennsylvania's 53rd legislative district, including Lansdale's, Hatfield, Souderton, Telford, and parts of Montgomery and Franconia townships. A longtime resident of Lansdale, he is a graduate of North Penn High School and Ursinus College. A second-generation Greek-American, Malagari traces his roots to Marmara in Asia Minor and Mytilene in Lesbos, where his grandmother was born before emigrating to the United States. He honors his heritage through public service and his active role in the World Hellenic Inter-Parliamentary Association, where he was elected a board member in 2025. Before serving in the State House, he worked as a medical technologist at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, later in sales, and served in Lansdale's Borough Council from 2012 to 2018. In Harrisburg, he is the vice chairman of the Insurance Committee, chair of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Government and Financial Oversight, and serves on several key committees. In 2025, he sponsored the resolution designating May 19th as Greek Pontian Genocide Remembrance Day in Pennsylvania, focusing on infrastructure, healthcare, education, consumer protection, and support for working families. He continues to serve with integrity and deep ties to his community. He lives in Lansdale with his wife, Rachel. Welcome, Steve, and thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Lou. Appreciate being here. First off, it was great to hear from everyone so far, and nice to be with you. And thank you for putting this panel together. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your district, the important issues, and some of the things that you've done with the interparliamentary organization.
Sure. So a little bit about the districts. I represent a portion of Montgomery County, which you described all the communities. We are a district of 65,000 roughly constituents, ranging from, we are in the suburbs of Philadelphia. We have some rural parts as well as you get into the outskirts of Montgomery County where there's some farmland. Used to have that part of my district. Actually, in their last redistricting, the lines changed a little bit. So with regard to the district itself, we are a mix of boroughs and townships. A lot of transit-oriented boroughs still exist from when the railroad came through in 1850 and prior to, but we also have some colonial roots here as well. But for the most part, our communities have been set up along the rail line, and that rail line continues to operate to this day. Portions of it are still within the commuter rail, and others are through the freight rail system. Furthermore, right now, transportation within our area is a very important topic of discussion within southeastern Pennsylvania, within the Commonwealth itself. We are still in a budget impasse at this moment from when our budget should have been passed and put into effect on July 1st. But we are at an impasse right now. So continuously working with our Republican colleagues in the Senate, we are a split legislature. So we have the Democratic-controlled House, the Republican-controlled Senate, and we have a Democratic governor. So we have to get along, we have to compromise, and we have to make sure that everyone is happy at the end of the day in order to get the budget done. So we're hopeful that we can get get a good product for the constituents of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth. We have 13 million people here that live in Pennsylvania. We're a big state. We are big geographically, and we're a big population. And the two parts of Pennsylvania that are pretty different from each other, you have the rural central portion. You have the southern portion along Maryland, you have the northern portion along New York, and then you have the western portion near Ohio, and you have the eastern portion along New Jersey and Delaware. So the eastern has Philadelphia and Scranton and Bethlehem and Allentown, and then you also have the western portion with Pittsburgh and Erie, and then many of the other central locations where Harrisburg's located as well. So we are a diverse state. Agriculture is our number one industry. We also have a lot of energy here, and the energy portion, if you think of history, we've had coal as going far back as the U.S. Steel days and continues to operate. Andrew Carnegie's first steel mills were out in Western Pennsylvania, in Braddock, Pennsylvania. And in addition to that, we also had coke plants, and we also now have cracker plants for plastic manufacturing because of our gas extraction. But traditionally, we had oil, and Quaker State Oil is one of the first ones that people might recognize the name of. But we started with that. Our energy is still one of our largest sectors for our economy. Agriculture is our largest, however, energy is our second. And we have not only nuclear, but also coal and gas, and less so coal now than before, but more in the gas end. Energy, we're a large energy exporter to our region in the PJM, which is our interconnect. In addition to that, we're hopeful that we can get some pipeline action accomplished to get to the Northeast where they need energy as well. And hopefully we can do that. Furthermore, there's been discussion about potential for an LNG export facility in Pennsylvania. We're not sure yet where that location will be, but those final details are being worked out, I think. And hopefully, if that is the case, we can be a large source of energy for Europe and also for Greece. As Lou mentioned, Raptakis, Senator Raptakis said, we did go visit Alexandropoli in January to see their FSRU facility and to understand what that infrastructure does and how it's utilized for the energy security of Europe, Eastern Europe, the Eastern Mediterranean, but also how the United States plays a role in providing that energy as well and providing that liquefied natural gas. So if Pennsylvania does move forward and is able to be an export facility as well, along with Texas and Louisiana, we are the number 2 gas state in the country, next to Texas and comparatively to Louisiana as well. But hopefully we can get there. Outside of that, in my district, we have some local things that we're trying to accomplish as well. Infrastructure is a big part.
Talk about that. Yeah, talk about that. That's great.
Sure. So roadway infrastructure is important. Transit infrastructure. Again, we are right outside the city of Philadelphia, so having commuter access to highways, but also for commerce and for movement of goods, we have to have good infrastructure. So I'm proud that we were able to open up a connector road between one of the largest, our largest road, which is the Pennsylvania Turnpike, the northeast extension of that, and another large highway that goes into the northeast of Pennsylvania, which is Pennsylvania Route 309. Big artery for traffic, both of them. And they run not parallel to each other, but quasi-parallel. And where we are in my district is directly in the center between those two. So we have a lot of business and warehousing lined up in that area to get goods in and out. So infrastructure is an important one, transportation infrastructure especially. With every state within our union, we are dealing with underground infrastructure issues as well. All of us from the Northeast are from pretty old areas, and the underground infrastructure of sewers and piping for water and sanitary sewer is starting to age as well. Lou, you're in New York. You have probably some of the oldest clay terracotta pipes in the ground, maybe in some
Oh, yeah,
portions, maybe even some wood. So,
could
but
be.
these are all the challenges that the northeastern states deal with. Furthermore, uh, we were set up during colonial times, so 250 years ago, and prior to that, our area was established, and we have a lot of very old areas as well. A lot of storied history here, too, given we are the cradle of liberty, where our founding of our country really started, in a pub actually. So, of all places. Um, Furthermore, I want to mention in the local area, we have the five county region surrounding Philadelphia is home to a lot of Greek Americans. We have a large Greek population. We have a very fantastic Greek Independence Day parade celebration each year. Senator Raptakis came down for one of the years and was a member of that, and we have a lot of plans for the
I've attended some of those parades.
Lou, the next.
My wife's uncle was the priest at St. George in Philadelphia.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
And my daughter was actually born in the Philadelphia hospital.
So you're very familiar with it.
Yeah, no, I am.
So in the recent years, I've been active with that parade, in attending a lot of the functions, serving as an MC for the flag raising at City Hall, and also attending the Hellenic Federation events that happen for the parade as well. Furthermore, I'm an AHEPA Chapter 432 member out of Valley Forge, St. Cecilia's, Faith, Hope, and Agape Parish, and also active with our Hellenic and Philhellenic caucus within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I, along with Senator Maria Collette, who's my senator, actually also Greek. Her main name is Zanakis, and she's born in Athens, but her father hails from Crete. And yeah, I'm a proud Greek American, proud to serve my community, proud to serve in the legislature, and proud to champion for working people and for the needs of the district, including education and healthcare as well. So,
in terms of your parade, is there someone who's the chairman called Vasiliou of the family name?
Yeah, John Vasiliou is the chairman.
He's married to one of my nieces.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He's married to one of my nieces, and yeah, I find
Renee. Yeah.
Anyway, tell me a little bit about the demographics of your area. What is the demographics?
So the district that I represent, we don't have a lot of Greek Americans. We have probably maybe less than 50, I would say, that I could probably count if I looked at a list.
Listen, if they were all Greek, you wouldn't be elected.
Right. So actually, my area started out heavily Mennonite German. That's the traditional population that it started. And those are the original settlers. Then it ended up, you had Italian immigrants move in, Irish immigrants move in, and now after 70 some years of time has passed, and about 40 years ago, the first communities of Bangladeshi, Indian, and South Korean started to move into the area. So we have a thriving population of all three of them, including a Vietnamese population as well, that came over post-war to settle here as refugees as well. So it's been a fun time, and also it's good to be able to interact with a lot of those communities as well. So we're a very diverse population. A lot of older individuals, seniors live in my district as well, but we also have a lot of young families too. So balancing senior needs, but also balancing young family needs, and that's always a challenge. But it's not impossible. It's just something you have to be cognizant and make sure that you're appealing to each and caring for each of them.
Yeah, I want you to know that in terms of a HEPA, I was the governor of this district 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think you remember you telling me that actually.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the declaration for Remembrance Day for the Greek Pontian genocide.
Yeah, so this has been a push within Pavea, with WIA, in order to try and get our respective chambers to pass resolutions recognizing the Greek Pontian genocide. This year, while I put my resolution forward, we were able to pass the Armenian genocide remembrance. So we're talking about the same exact time frame with very, very identical groups of individuals that were affected from the Ottoman Turks. So this year, the Armenian genocide went through and passed the House. So that's what gave me that ability to put forward my own for the Greek Pontian genocide, which has not passed yet the House. So I'm hopeful that we can get it done in the next calendar year to allow for 2026 to have not only the Greek Pontian genocide, but also the Greek Armenian and Assyrian and everyone else that was affected from the Ottoman Turks during that time period. So we are at a point where I think the recognition is there. It came with some ire from the Turkish government, which, you know what, sign me up, that's fine. I'm okay with that. There's also a large Turkish population that also doesn't align with what the current administration in Turkey is about. So um, I say bring it on.
Well,
Let's
part of the
talk about
problem,
truth.
is because I've been involved in these committees, by the way, to get national recognition of the genocide. Not per se to have it called the Greek Pontian genocide, but just to call it the let's say Greek Orthodox, or the Greek genocide, because there were 3 actually areas of the genocide. One of them was, of course, Pontus. The other one was Asia Minor,
Yep.
and the third one was obviously in Thrace. Okay, each one has a different date. So one of the issues was what date should be the common date of the Greek genocide. And I think the general resolution among everyone was to use May 19th, actually, because that's the prominent one that's been around. But on a national level, it's been extremely difficult, even though the Armenian genocide was recognized and the Greek genocide was mentioned, as well as the Assyrian. But there's no formal thing relating to the Greek genocide, and I think you're correct that that's something that should be pushed, in particular, if we can, within the next year. Can you tell us a little bit about the healthcare, because that's one of the focuses that you have in your particular district? Just tell us a little bit about healthcare and what some of the issues are locally.
So within the Commonwealth, we have a very large population, very diverse group. And diverse age population, but also diverse demographic as far as economic demographics as well. So there's a large population of individuals on Medicaid. There's a large population of individuals that can't afford healthcare, regardless of what their career was in the past, or what their current challenges are, either given their retirees or maybe with disability or anything like that. So right now, affordability is an important thing. So we were able to, in the past, I think it was probably 2 years ago now, we were able to get Pennsylvania on its own exchange to allow for the penny exchange, as we call it penny. That's a low income exchange for individuals to shop for their healthcare. And the Commonwealth, actually took administration of that, saving a ton of money for the Commonwealth as well. So we were able to capitalize on that and what we already have within our Health and Human Services and our administration and our infrastructure that's already in place to allow for an affordable option for people to get healthcare through the exchange. It's not the same as mass care, as they called it before, in Massachusetts. It's a little bit different, but we pride ourselves in being able to allow for that opportunity. Now, moving forward with the federal government changes, we're not sure exactly how that's going to play out yet, but soon to be seen. But right now we can say with confidence that we're able to provide an affordable option for individuals to get healthcare coverage. Also, CHIP, Children's Health Insurance Plan, started in Pennsylvania. That was a Pennsylvania program, and that covers insurance for all kids, regardless of their socioeconomic background or ability to pay. So we're able to offer healthcare coverage for all of our children in the Commonwealth as well.
I think you have the oldest hospital in the United States, actually, right? Pennsylvania Hospital, correct?
Pennsylvania Hospital, that's correct.
1700s, 17 something.
That's correct.
Listen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you all, and great seeing everyone.
Thanks again. Thanks again. Our next panelist is Savet Constantine. She represents Connecticut's 42nd district, which includes Wilton, as well as parts of New Canaan and Ridgefield in the Connecticut General Assembly. She serves as the vice chair of the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee, and as a member of the Energy and Technology and Education Committees. She is passionate about ensuring excellence and safety in schools, protecting women's reproductive rights and freedom, enhancing services for seniors, fostering economic growth, and committed to financial responsibility. She brings a wealth of volunteer experience from Wilton Public Schools, where she served as the Wilton High School PTSA president, Middlebrook PTA president, and multiple roles over 20 years. As nominations chair for the Wilton's Democratic Town Committee, she has town-wide outreach efforts to identify skilled residents to serve in various boards and commissions, keeping community service at the forefront of her amazing track record in finding bipartisan solutions that have ensured that her local communities continue to flourish. Constantine was raised in Minnesota and earned her BA from Carleton College and a Master's of International Affairs from Columbia University. She and her husband, Craig, have called Wilton home since 2004 with their 2 children. Savet's family comes from Corinthos and Kalamata. Her parental grandfather emigrated to the United States in the early 1900s, laying railroad tracks towards Chicago to provide for his family back in the village of Pulitza, outside of Corinth. He joined the U.S. Army during World War I, obtained his U.S. citizenship, and returned home after providing dowries for his 5 sisters, and then raised his own family in Pulitza. When Savet's father turned 18, he came to the U.S. to study engineering, earning his PhD in electrical engineering. Savet's maternal grandfather hailed from Kalamata before settling in Corinthos after World War II, and she visited often and grew up hearing the family stories and Greek history from her grandparents. Welcome, Savet, and thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be part of this panel.
Lou, same here. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just jumped on, but as you know, we're not ready to cook, but it's all here. That's the beef kebab.
Listen,
if you want chicken, I can send it over to you in a few minutes.
Lou, you didn't give us your address. We will jump right over.
Ya come corta tu forno. Corta tu forno right here.
Pune patatas.
Patatas já comedor, peraí.
Hey, listen, you interfered with Savet's
No,
discussion.
because we asked Lou to show us
You
his
did this on
food.
purpose, Savet. You did it on
What
purpose.
would you like me to send over? FedEx or whatever?
You know what? I'll just hop on I-95. Tina will pick me up and we'll be in there in about
Come
2.5
on up. We're not that far
hours.
away.
Hey, Lou, put it on a drone. Get it here by drone.
Okay.
Okay, make deliveries.
Lou, thank you very much. As you saw, your audience saw the interchanges when Steve Malagari was explaining the borders of Ohio, New Jersey, Delaware, New York, all Greek Americans in those states. And that's very important to keep this organization moving forward. And we want to thank you for your support this past summer for the General Assembly that took place in Athens, Greece. Again, we appreciate everything you've done for the Greek American elected officials here in the United States, and when we have our assembly over in Athens every 2 years. But you've been a champ, and it's great to be with you again, once again.
Well, here's what I have to say to you, Lou. First of all, you interrupted, Savet, but that's okay.
Okay.
The other thing is, obviously, Lou, before you depart, I do want a role for your organization within the upcoming parade. It's the 250th anniversary, as we said, of the Declaration of Independence, the birth of this nation, and the 250th anniversary of Greek independence. So that, to me, is a central theme. It's a central theme, actually, within this parade. In particular, not so much to separate Greece and America as being two separate entities, but actually linking the two historically from the beginning. Whether we're talking about the Battle of Dharma, where we supported the U.S. Marines who fought in the first battle overseas, and the first victory overseas, actually, all the way up into modern times. So to us, at least in New York, and obviously Connecticut is part of our gravitational pull. We're going to have conversations beyond this, obviously, to talk about your input and being involved, actually, in the parade that's coming up. Lou, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Savet, before you were rudely interrupted by Lou,
Now, food is always important to Greeks. We all know that.
can you tell us a little bit about your particular district, some of the local issues, some of the also national issues that relate to your local district, but also some of the things that we talked about in terms of international issues relating to Greece?
Of course, of course. Listen, it's a pleasure to be here, Luz. I'm so glad that you're leading up the parade for next year. It's a hugely important year just for Greece, for the United States, and this reinforcement of the birth of democracy and the longest, we are the longest democratic nation in the world. So that just reinforces the ties that we have as Greek Americans with Greece, and it's a source of great pride. So as you said, I do represent the people of Wilton, New Canaan, and Ridgefield. It is in southern Fairfield, Connecticut, just north of Greenwich and Darien on that I-95 on the way to Rhode Island, except that we're not on the water. And it's been a privilege, to be here and listen to all the groups and all the people who've spoken before me. It's almost like, we could just use one word and say ditto on everything because, as Greeks, as Americans, we share a lot of the same concerns, both in Greece and here in the States. We want to do the best for our communities. I'm in my first full year here at the legislature, along with Tina. And my colleagues, here in the Connecticut legislature with the WHIA and Lou, have been a tremendous source of insight and inspiration. Meeting legislators from all over the world this past summer has deepened my understanding of the real world challenges and structural constraints, and what ideas we can apply here at home. And really, the issues kind of facing my community, our larger community, are also my priorities, which reflect both the Hellenic roots and the needs of our residents. As others have said, at the top of my list is education. As a first-generation Greek American, as a parent, education was my first committee choice because a well-run education system sets students on many paths to success. That means not only relevant curriculum, but making sure we have after-school options so kids have a safe place to be, making sure food insecure students have breakfast and lunch, because hungry kids cannot learn, regardless of how much money we spend on teachers, computers, and buildings. And then we have the new modern reality of how smartphones and social media are hindering learning and what's good for our kids. Because we know education just isn't book learning, it's building resiliency, empathy, and character. The quality our grandparents have modeled through hardship. Others have spoken about energy and technology. I always perk up when I listen to Steve because he is really deep into technology and how important technology energy. I'm like on the energy and technology committee. but how our energy supply kind of shapes our competitiveness, our jobs, and our affordability. And then after that, we get to finance, revenue, and bonding. I ran on fiscal responsibility. I was made vice chair of this committee, and I'm a member of the bonding committee. And my focus here is on policies that enable businesses to create revenue and smartly allocating funds to statewide projects, because our economic health, our social health depends on how we plan for today, how we spend for tomorrow, and we need to be mindful of our legacy constraints. Connecticut had decades of underfunded pension liability, which has kind of been a drag on our budget because we do need to pay that off, much like Greece's long path emerging out of its financial crisis. So that's quick overview. Lou?
Well, Tina had mentioned, the financial aspects and in particular taxes. You're the vice chair of finance, revenue, and bonding, right? So, what are the key points that are of interest in Connecticut, let's say, relating to those particular issues? Is taxes the issue, or keeping fiscal responsibility, or what? What's behind all this stuff? What's happening?
Yeah, it's all intertwined. So, Connecticut's key industry is the financial and insurance industries. We are closely connected to New York. The Fairfield counties, particularly this area, Southern Fairfield County, is very geared to the tri-state area. And we need to make sure that we have policies that keep people here. That, one policy that we were working on was the whole, now that we have a lot of work from home, particularly since COVID, was looking at how can we work with DRS, or how can DRS help Connecticut residents pay taxes here if they're working from home versus in New York. Obviously, New York wants to capture, if someone has their office based in New York City, they do want to capture that income. They want to capture New York City taxes. They want to capture New York State taxes. But yet we have a vested interest in, if our residents are working here in Connecticut, where should they be paying taxes? So it's something that, and by the way, our Connecticut residents would much rather be paying taxes to Connecticut. Our taxes rates are a bit lower than New York. So, it's looking at the fine details as to what DRS needs are, not just on taxes, but also how do we capture income that is escaping us? We have about $300 million in unpaid taxes. So how can we help DRS? How can we enable them to be able to go after people who are not paying their taxes? So it kind of encompasses a wide range. And the third one, to finish off on finance, would be a project that actually ended up being finance. It ended up being environmental. It ends up going over to the Attorney General's office, is our bottle redemption bill from several years ago. We increased a year and a half ago now, January of 24, our bottle redemption, in order to make sure that people return more bottles to get them out of our waste stream. We increased our bottle redemption to 10 cents. New York has 5 cents. New Jersey has 0. I believe Rhode Island might be 0 also. And our redemption centers here on the New York border, a little bit on the Rhode Island border, saw an increase, a little slow at start, but by last fall, our redemptions, after 20, 30 years of people redeeming their bottles at about 53%, 54%, jumped to 78% statewide. But then when we really look at the bottle redemption centers around New York and New Jersey, they're hitting 107%, 140%. And the reason why we're looking at that is because Connecticut residents pay the Sheets money, yet someone's coming in to claim our Sheets, which we split with our distributors. So they're actually taking, let's say, $15-20 million out of the Connecticut general fund, because they're just shipping their bottles over. and claiming them. So it's working with, on the environment side, it's working with the AG, it's working with finance and DRS to figure out how can we stop this fraud from happening, because it's affecting our budget.
What are the demographics of your particular area?
So, you know, because again, we are so close to, well, I'll start politically, you know, like many of these areas. So the majority of people are independents. We have, in Wilton, we have 4,300 independents. We have 4,300 registered Democrats, and we have 3,300 registered Republicans. It's a massive fall for Republicans, number-wise, in the last 8 years, shall I say. But again, independents are the majority for registered voters, because a lot of people are in the middle. You know, they want fiscal responsibility, but they also do want to see social progress too. And as a moderate Democrat, you know, as soon as I was elected, you know, some groups reached out. I joined up with the Moderate Democrats, Moderate Caucus, because charting a path forward, as others have said, charting a bipartisan path forward is so important, because we need to bring both sides together. We need to figure out what is going to be best for the community without being on the extremes.
Can I ask you and Tina, are you guys familiar with the Sparta Museum in Storrs, Connecticut?
No, sounds like we're going to have to make a visit, Tina.
Yes, I am familiar with it, but have not made a visit at the University of Connecticut. But we will. I'm game. Savet,
The reason why I'm bringing it out is I think very shortly they're going to have the formal opening. I mean, it should have opened years ago, but I think they're going to have the formal opening. And I was just curious if anyone knew when that was. I thought it was going to be towards the end of September, and it would be really great. I don't know if you've been watching it, but they've been doing amazing things in terms of building it, with having volunteers and buying stone from Greece and all the rest of that. So it's very fascinating. So hopefully we can meet up. We can meet up there.
We'll reach out to our 8 Greek legislators. Reach out to them. Reach out to our lieutenant governor. It'll be a great event.
I had gone to one of these past events that they had. They weren't finished, but they had the cultural minister of Greece there and all the rest of that. And I just think it's something that's fantastic, you know, that's being built. They have an amphitheater, they have a museum, they're bringing some objects from Greece, some classical stuff. And I just think that's an amazing thing. What I'd like to do now is just wrap it up, because it is Labor Day weekend. And I appreciate everybody being here. And I think for the audience, I think it's Labor Day weekend. You know, we have to think of also Hellenic people, Americans, who were part of the labor movement, okay, including, for example, Louis Tikas, who is very famous in terms of the Ludlow massacre. And I think we should honor and respect all working people and all the things that they've done throughout the years, you know, to create a labor movement that did fantastic things, not only with pay, but also the amount of hours you can work, child labor, and all the rest of that. So everyone should be enjoying this particular holiday, not only to do what Lou is doing and everybody else here, okay, in other words, roasting some souvlaki, etc., that Lou is going to transport to us individually here so we can enjoy his food. But to everyone, this is Labor Day weekend, and we should honor, obviously, our work people throughout the United States. So let's wrap it up. Lou, some final thoughts about today, or anything you want to say?
Sure. Just basically, again, it's a holiday. We honor our laborers, which I think is very important throughout our country. It's a special day for the United States, for the working class that built this great nation. From working in mills, factories, on the railroads, shipping, whatever the case might be. And it's great to honor everyone today, the working class. And Lou, continue what we're doing. We want to have our 4th venue with other legislators across the country. I know this was a Northeast regional type of forum today. but we'll get those folks from, I know that our colleague from Arizona would have been with us, but she's in Australia. Stacey Travers, state representative from Arizona. So keep it up. We again want to thank you for your support and for us taking the time to be with you, for your audience to understand that who's out there on the state level, which again, if you live in any one of our states, if there's an issue, reach out to us. We can help guide you through the congressional office to resolve an issue, whether it's generates out of Washington. If it's a state issue, we can go directly to our secretaries of any agency. So that's what I want to thank you again for giving us this opportunity to share with your listening and viewing audience today. Thank you.
Lou, one thing that's never happened, by the way, we haven't had, let's say, a local regional conference or what have you with state legislators, for example, let's say in New York, and discuss some of the issues that may be of interest to all of us. You know, we talk about ourselves as Hellenic Americans, not only as Hellenic people, but as Americans, okay? Because many people just don't know what state legislators do, by the way, how important they are. Because many times I hear, people talking, oh, state legislators, there's a whole bunch of them. They really don't do much. But in reality, they are the grassroots of politics in the United States and extremely important. So I wouldn't mind if you
Sure,
could get
great
it together.
idea.
I wouldn't mind hosting something in New York, to be frank, to have these discussions, because I think they're kind of important. Not only, again, as Hellenic Americans, but just as Americans in general. Okay,
Great idea.
so we thank you, Lou, for all that you do. Of course, we'll be there to support you and everyone else who's part of the group here. Tina, some final thoughts?
Just to thank you, Lou, for having us here today. I thought this was a very fruitful discussion. And, we have a lot of Greek organizations in our diaspora in the United States, but this is so unique because it's focused on, getting legislators together. I found to be a different thing. I learned so much from being with WEA in Greece this summer and continue to learn from fellow state legislators of Greek descent. So thanks for doing this.
Tina, thank you so much for being with us. Savet, some final thoughts, ideas?
Yeah, likewise, I think the more that we speak with each other, the more we can understand different people's points of views. We all bring different information to the table, but we all want the same thing. We all need solutions in order to move our towns, our state, and our country forward.
Thank you so much. To the audience, we're talking about the 250th anniversary of America. We're all Americans, which is obviously very important to us. Many of you are not Hellenic people, but Philhellenes, which is fantastic. But we should understand that the linkage between the two nations and the people go back. They go back to the Greek Revolution. For example, in the United States, all types of what they call Greek committees were formed in New York, in Connecticut, in Pennsylvania, etc. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that were actually involved in the movements to raise money, to actually support the Hellenic Revolution. And at the same time, there was things that came out of the revolution into the United States of America itself. So, for example, in the American abolitionist movement, people came from Greece actually, and were in fact, in some cases, orphans, who survived the revolution. They came to the U.S., they joined the military, etc. They became major abolitionists within the United States. And the rhetoric that was used by the American Greek committees is the same rhetoric that was used by the American abolitionists and the Greek abolitionists in America to support the abolitionist movement. So these are the type of linkages that we have to talk about, in particular as we head towards the 250th anniversary of this great nation, which we all love. And what do we talk about? When we talk about ourselves, we're Americans. We talk about Hellenic descent, and other people have other descent, but we're basically Americans. And it's extremely important for us to have these conversations with our legislators. Thank you all for being with us today. And Lou, I'm expecting some souvlaki to be transported here. Take care, everybody. Thank you.